Hey, it's Nina Madden here, your lead trainer, coach, and the founder of the Professional Coaching with NLP program. I thought I'd make this little video and to talk to you about some of the key concepts of NLP and coaching. And I want to share with you how coaching is different from therapy and counseling because it's so radically different, and also give you a really powerful tool for you to be able to apply onto your own life and to make some changes straight away. And the tool I'm going to share with you is going to help you to program your own unconscious mind to create more success in your life. Because we all know, we've all heard that we only ever use a very, very small percentage of our minds. They've measured it and they said we're using 10% of the capacity that we have within us to, consciously, that's what we're able to use. But with NLP, which is so amazing, is that we can actually engage the entire unconscious mind on board with tools and techniques, and that helps us to be able to achieve the things that we want much faster, much less time, and also with a lot less effort, right? Because that's really the definition of success. And also, by being able to go deep into the unconscious mind, we can also learn and understand what it is that is uniquely important to me, so that we don't work hard to pursue the wrong goals or goals that somebody else has set for us, or goals that we think we should be pursuing. Because there's nothing worse than leaning your ladder up against the wrong wall and finding that you're working really, really, really hard for years and years and years, only to find out that you put all this energy and effort into the wrong goals. That's what I'm going to share with you today. So first of all, coaching and NLP, life coaching, is so different from therapy. And the most amazing thing that I found out when I started coaching 15 years ago was that the approach to a human being from a coaching perspective is so different than that from a therapy perspective. Because as coaches and NLP master practitioners, we know that everybody has the resources within them to actually make the changes that they want to make, and that we don't actually have to go digging in the past in order to try to find solutions to problems that we have today. But actually the problems that we have today, we have also got solutions for these problems in the moment and in today. And this is so freeing, because what this means is that it doesn't matter what happened to you in the past. It doesn't matter how dysfunctional your childhood was. And believe me, I know what it's like to grow up in an extremely dysfunctional household. But it doesn't matter how traumatic it was, how dysfunctional it was, or how unhappy you've been in the past, because you have the power and the resources to make changes right here and right now. And that there is a different way to make changes. So the changes that you're going to look to make, whatever it is that you might want, maybe you're not as successful as you want in your life today. Maybe you're not in the career that you want. Maybe you are in the career, but you're not succeeding as much as you'd like to succeed. Maybe you're not successful in relationships. Maybe you struggle with friendships. Maybe you struggle with your family relationship. Maybe financially you're struggling. So any of those issues, regardless of what happened to you in the past, you have the power and wisdom to create and to make changes today. But how do we do that? That's the big $1 million question, right? The way we do that is by engaging not just the conscious mind, but engaging the unconscious mind as well. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to think about deeply what it is that you really, really want. Now, that can be quite an intimidating question. I know that. I've had many, many clients, and myself, when I started coaching 15 years ago, I also couldn't really answer that question, because I tried so many different, I had so many different ideas for careers that I was going to do. I was thinking about teaching. I was thinking about going to Africa because I have a background of growing up in Asia. So the third world was quite, exciting and familiar to me. I was thinking I was going to volunteer. I've always been interested in helping people, but I didn't know at that time that there was this job called life coaching, where you have amazing and interesting conversations with your clients that inspire them and inspire yourself as well in the process to come up with new ideas and to make really significant changes to their lives. So the first thing we're going to do, and I want to ask you to do, So, because I'm going to help you teach you an NLP technique right now. The first thing is you want to think about what it is that you really want. And in order to do that, you want to allow yourself and your mind to drift, because the mind is at its most creative when we allow ourselves to relax. So that's the very first thing. So this idea that, you're lying in the grass in the park looking up into the sky, that is a perfect state for allowing your unconscious mind to come to the fore, where you relax your mind and your creativity begins to take hold, and you start to come up with new ideas. So the first thing you want to do, if you're working with yourself or you're working with your client, is you want to get yourself to relax. You want to get the client to relax. So daydreaming is a fantastic technique and tool. You want to close your eyes, and then you want to think, if I wasn't afraid of anything, if I could have anything, if I had a magic wand, if I didn't have to fear any kind of embarrassment, or nobody was going to say, anyone would congratulate you for what you tried, anyone would do that, what would you ask for? And as you're closing your eyes or you're drifting off and you're looking up into the sky, you want to begin to see images, pictures in your mind. Whatever those pictures are, just welcome them, because there is no censoring at this point. There is no restriction. And I want to tell you something about the Walt Disney technique of creating the most amazing animations that he did, because it's actually related. So the first thing you want to do is you want to drift off and start thinking, what images do you see? What visions do you get? What are those pictures? And make those pictures big and bright and colorful. If it helps to have my voice prompting you, you're very welcome to have it. If you feel like you want to pause and take a break, then do that. But come back, because there's more to it. You then want to start, once you've got those images, want to start thinking about the sounds that you're going to hear. Are you going to be outside in the country? Are you going to be hearing bird song? Are you going to be hearing sounds of laughter, of people's voices? Is it going to be music? Or for maybe some of you, it's just going to be quiet, and maybe that silence and that peace that you're looking for. So the sounds are the next thing we want to add. And then you want to start asking yourself, what feelings am I going to be feeling? Like, what do I really want? When I've got these images and I've got these sounds, what do I want to be feeling? Because whenever you set a sort of, you can call this a goal, but it isn't really a goal in sort of technically. But you want to it's really important that you involve your feelings in there. Because you can have the most beautiful house on the most beautiful beach, and you can have the most gorgeous husband or wife, whatever it is. You can have all the money in the bank, and you can still be absolutely miserable, feel awful about yourself. So we don't want that, right? It's really important, therefore, to also involve your feelings. Like, what feelings do you want to have? And start to think, do you want to feel, obviously, we want to feel comfortable. We want to feel safe, right? Those are quite common feelings, but I also might want to feel proud of the things that I've accomplished. I might want a sense of, this sense of pride, or even a little bit of a fuck you, maybe even, that sense of, like, I did it, like I achieved it. And then the final thing then you want to create is, what are you going to be saying to yourself? So, we all have this internal voice. And if you're like me, or most of us out there, this internal voice is something, and by the way, this is also something that you'll learn to change on the NLP course. This internal voice can be really critical and harsh. And I think almost it's worse when we don't hear the voice, because that means that we're so used to it that we actually are ignoring it. Hey, my little puppy is here helping me. So this internal voice is enough. Just get him to say hello. Here we go. I know what he wants. He wants sausages. So this internal voice, it's almost worse when we don't hear it, right? Because we're almost then so used to it. But what is your internal voice going to be telling you when you have this thing, when you've achieved this thing? You're going to say, yeah, you did it. Like, look at what you've achieved, girl. Look at what you've accomplished. Now, for some of you at this point, you might start getting a lot of uncomfortable feelings. These will be kind of objections, like you might hear your internal voice saying things to yourself like, yeah, but you're never going to achieve that, or oh my God, but so if you have that, don't freak out, don't panic. It's really common. So what is now bubbling up to the surface is what you're getting now is your sort of deeply rooted unconscious limiting beliefs, if you like. So if you have any of that sort of uncomfortable, negative stuff coming up, that's really good, because when things come to the surface, it's kind of like boiling water. It's like it can come out. So what I would suggest you do is write those limiting beliefs down. And then there are techniques for that, which also, if you join the course, you'll learn how to delete those limiting beliefs so you don't have to have that anymore. But write them down, because the point about writing them down is it's important to have them conscious. Because when they're unconscious, they run our lives, they direct our behaviors, we make choices, we make decisions based on these unconscious beliefs. And we're just acting out of fear, but we don't know that we're acting out of fear. And that's when our world can become really quite small. So having those come up to consciousness, even though it's uncomfortable, is really good actually. So write them down, because then you can do something with them. Now, for others of you, you'll probably be feeling really good now, because you've got this vision, you've got the imagery of what you want, you've got the sounds of what you want, you've got the feelings of what you want, you've got your internal voice of what you want. And so you might start to feel really enthusiastic and motivated. Now, what you've got here is the creative juice and the creative material that we're then going to use to program your future. Well, we use that word program as a metaphor, by the way, because there is no such thing as programming the mind. The metaphor is, of course, of the mind as a computer, but the mind is not a computer. But we're going to use that to engage your whole unconscious mind so that your unconscious mind creates the future that you want to create. Please don't bark. I'm in the middle of a video. So that's what we're going to do. And so this is what we start now to get is an NLP well-formed outcome. Now, the next stage in this would be to create a timeline where we then put the vision, which isn't really a goal, into the timeline. So we help ourselves to program the future in that way. Now, if I had better editing skills, I could definitely shut this video off and then start another one, and I could edit the two together. But my editing skills are not great, and I do want to get it out. So hence, we're using this little workaround of carrying the puppy. So what I kind of talk to you about right now is creating an NLP well-formed outcome, which is becoming a vision for you. Now, the next stage in the coaching, in the life coaching, this is where things are so different. We're not even talking about the past or about your parents or about your childhood. We're just talking about what you want to create going forward from now. So now you have this vision. So the next stage in the process is then to begin to create an action plan for how you can bring this into your world and into your reality. And this is where the T-Grow model comes in that we use as a coach, and which you'll learn how to use. And you'll be able to access all the resources that you have within yourself to come up with an actionable plan. Now, some of you might think, gosh, my dreams are so big, they're never going to happen. But that's the whole point of doing this and using the unconscious mind, because the conscious mind is the mind, that's very small part, that is rational, logical, ordered, that does things in step. But I'm sure that you know and have had experience of other things happening for you that you didn't really plan and you didn't really make actionable steps from. Maybe you met the love of your life. Maybe someone like this came into your life just by an happy accident or a happy mistake. That's when the unconscious mind is involved. And that's where we get so much more power by using NLP and by creating these techniques. Some of you will still have your list of limiting beliefs. This is a huge obstacle to moving forward with your with your plans, but with the NLP and the coaching, you're going to be able to remove these limiting beliefs and any other ones that you have as well. And of course, you're also learning how to use this with your clients. So Lizzie was a client of mine. She came in for a session. She was very upset, very sad. She said, my life is an absolute mess. It's a disaster. Everything is wrong and I don't like anything. And I sat her through a coaching session. And when she came out of that coaching session, because of the techniques that I had put her through, she had a completely different perspective to her life. She actually was able to calm down because she realized that it wasn't her entire life that was a mess. It was just a certain area of the life. And a couple of months later, she'd made changes to her living arrangement. She'd got a new job and she was in a new relationship. So these sessions can be so powerful, and there's so much, you'll have so much in your tool bag to help your clients with all sorts of things in all sorts of areas. So I really hope that you'd love to join me on a course soon. And if you have any questions, please do reach out. I'm sure there's a button there or there, somewhere like that, and I'll be happy to talk to you. And I hope to see you in one of my classrooms.